Okay, so here we are, part 2 of the Theban saga. This is after Oedipus's death. The sons of Oedipus, Polynices and Aeacus, decide to split the reign of Thebes, and they are going to have one of the brothers reign while the other is in exile and kind of traveling around and having a good time. Well, guess what happens when it's time for the one in exile to return and take over? The one that's been reigning for a while doesn't really want to give up the power. So we'll see that. Okay. Anyway, the first to agree to go into exile is Polynices, or Polynicus, I guess you could call it that too. Anyway, Aeacus is reigning in Thebes while Polynices is in exile. When he goes into exile, he actually takes Harmonia's necklace and her robe, that's another part of the gift, with him, which is going to cause some problems. Polynices winds up in Argos, and he ends up meeting and getting into a fight with a hero named Tydeus. All right, Tydeus and Polynices wind up getting into a fight, but King Adrastus breaks it up. And he observes to his surprise that on the shield of Polynices is a lion, and on the shield of Tydeus a boar is depicted. And this reminds him of a prophecy. Now, just so you're clear, Polynices' lion insignia on his shield is in honor of Heracles, and the boar on Tydeus's shield is in memory of the famous Caledonian boar hunt. Okay, so that's where that comes from. Anyway, King Adrastus had received a prophecy that his two beautiful daughters, Argaia and Dipole, would be given in marriage to a lion and a boar. So Adrastus is pretty excited that he's met these two heroes and they must be who his daughters are going to marry. So he invites strangers to his palace and listens to their story, and once he hears their story, he's convinced that they were of noble birth, and he gives Polynices his daughter Argaia, and he gives Tydeus his daughter Dipole. And he promises that he will help his new sons-in-law to regain their rightful patrimony, starting with Polynices, of course. Okay, so the princesses' names are here on the slide, all right, Argaia and Dipole. So they decide to form an expedition against Thebes in order to get Polynices his rightful rule, to overthrow his brother Aeacus and get Polynices in rule. The 7 against Thebes are King Adrastus, Polynices, of course, Tydeus, of course, and a couple other heroes, one named Capaneus, one named Hippomedon, one named Parthenopaeus, and the last one named Amphiaraus. Amphiaraus is going to prove to be the most important of these other heroes, because Amphiaraus has the powers of prophecy. Yes, the prophetic powers of Amphiaraus. So he knows that the 7 against Thebes is doomed to fail, and that only King Adrastus would survive. But he also knows that his wife would be willing to take a present from Polynices. So he forbids his wife from taking any presents from Polynices. Now remember what Polynices took with him in exile? The necklace of Harmonia. So he bribes Amphiaraus' wife with the necklace. After all, who wouldn't want to be young and beautiful forever? Who cares about your descendants, apparently? So she takes the bribe and gets her husband to join the 7 against Thebes. Again, he knows what's going to happen, so before he leaves, he wants his son to vow to, first of all, take revenge on their mother for getting him into this and getting him killed, and secondly, to mount a second expedition against Thebes, which will be successful. So, on their way to Thebes, they come across Hypsipyle. Hypsipyle, if you remember, was the queen of the stinky women of Lemnos. Okay? And so by this point, she has had a baby by Jason. But she has been kidnapped and sold by pirates. These pirates left the baby alone, and actually the 7 find the baby, and he's able to lead the 7 to water. However, a bunch of snakes wind up killing the baby. So the 7 against Thebes kill all the snakes, and they establish the Nemean Games as an athletic competition to celebrate the dead child. Okay. Tydeus, Polynices' brother-in-law and buddy here, is sent ahead to Thebes to kind of scout things out, because nobody knows him in Thebes. They don't know he's connected to the brother in exile. While he's in Thebes, he winds up getting into a contest and beating everyone at whatever contest it is. So this makes the men of Thebes angry, and 50 of them set up an ambush to try to kill Tydeus when he leaves the city. Tydeus is able to kill all but 1. So he's able to return safely to the rest of the 7 so they can mount their campaign. Okay. Tereus was Thebes' own prophet, right here. And so he tells Eteocles that if someone will save or sacrifice himself, the city would be free from destruction. So Menoechus here is the one who volunteers to be sacrificed for the sake of the city. And he is a son of Creon, one of, the advisors of the king. And so he ensures that the city will be successful. So each of the 7 have a different fate. Remember, Adrastus, the king, the father-in-law, is the only one to survive. Amphiaraus is the first to fall. He gets swallowed up by the earth while in battle. That's great. Capaneus is the only one of the 7 who is successful in scaling the wall of the city, but when he gets up on top of the wall, he boasts against Zeus that he was able to do this in spite of opposition, and so Zeus strikes him down with lightning. Tydeus is killed by getting shot in the head, and Polynices and Eteocles end up killing each other in battle. So that leaves Thebes without a ruler. Whoops. And so that leaves Creon in charge of Thebes. He was the advisor. His son was willing to sacrifice himself to save the city. So, of course, Creon is going to take over. So the rest of the story basically takes place in Sophocles' play named Antigone, Oedipus's daughter that, is loyal to her father and leads him around in his blindness until his end of life. Okay? So King Creon has an edict or a law concerning burial rites, and he says that only Eteocles will be buried, and Polynices and the rest of the 7 and the rest of the troops that they bring with them will be left to rot on the battlefield. Now remember, if If you're not properly buried, you cannot enter the underworld. And it only takes 3 handfuls of dirt to, technically bury you. So Antigone disregards King Creon's edict, sneaks out onto the battlefield at night, and throws 3 handfuls of dirt over her brother's body to symbolize burial so he can go into the underworld. Antigone says, in this famous part of the play about the laws of gods and men, that she answers to a higher law than the law of man. She answers to the law of the gods, which decrees that people are buried so they can go into the underworld. As punishment for burying her brother, she is sealed alive in a tomb or a sepulcher. But before she can die of, suffocation or lack of food and water or whatever, she hangs herself. Now, it's pretty dirty of Creon to do this to her since she was just taking care of her family members. Remember, you're supposed to take care of your family members. So Creon is going to get his own form of punishment. Hymen here is Creon's son. And he is betrothed to Antigone. He is to marry her. He loves Antigone, so he tries to save her. So he breaks into this sealed sepulcher, but he finds that she has already killed herself. So he kills himself with a sword. Kind of like Romeo and Juliet here or something, okay? Eurydice is Creon's wife, and she is so distraught because of her son's death that she kills herself. So Creon loses his wife and his son for being a, dirtbag. Okay. Now, the epigoni here, this particular Greek term, means the afterborn. So this is the second generation of the 7 against Thebes. These are Amphiaraus's sons that lead the battle, right? Alcmaeon is Amphiaraus's son, and he is elected or chosen to lead the second expedition against Thebes in order for the sons of the 7 to avenge the deaths of their fathers. And an oracle, in fact, promises them success and victory if they choose Alcmaeon as their leader. Now, Alcmaeon is kind of unsure about this because, remember, he had vowed to take vengeance on his mother. He'd promised his father to do that, okay? But he is conflicted about it, okay, because killing your mother, that's also a punishable offense according to the gods. So she convinces Alcmaeon to go on the second expedition, and in fact, she has the robe of Harmonia as her incentive to convince him to go on the expedition. So he does. He distinguishes himself greatly in the battle. In fact, he kills Laodamas, who's the son of Eteocles. So you have a son of one of the 7 killing the son of Eteocles. So I guess that's justice there. And after the fall of Thebes, he learns the reason why his mother urged him to take part in the expedition. And she did it for selfish reasons. And so he kills her on the advice of the Oracle of Apollo. And in some cases, or in some versions of the story, his brother helps him to kill the mother. So again, they fulfill their promise to their father. But after he kills his mother, Alcmaeon goes mad, and he is haunted by the Furies. Because again, you're not supposed to kill family members, let alone your parents. All right. he winds up traveling to Arcadia, right here, in his madness and in his exile. And he winds up getting married to a woman named Sophis, and that is P-S-O-P-H-I-S. And so, when he marries Sophis, he gives her the necklace and robe of Harmonia. Not a good idea, but there we go. Anyway. However, while he's living with his wife Sophis, a plague or famine hits the country, and they find out that this famine is caused by him living there, and he murdered his mother, and the whole area is being punished for giving him sanctuary in his exile. So he leaves his wife Sophis and sees an oracle that commands him to go to a country which had been formed after the murder of his mother, so therefore it couldn't have any curses on it. So he goes to the land of Ecolus. You don't have to know that, but what you do need to know is that Ecolus gives Alcmaeon his daughter, Calirrhoa, here, in marriage. Okay? Now, Calirrhoa has a desire to possess the necklace of Harmonia, of course. So Alcmaeon, in order to grant her wish, goes back to his first wife, Sophis, to get the necklace of Harmonia. Now, Alcmaeon's no dummy, and he doesn't tell his first wife that he's going to use this or give these to his second wife. He instead tells her that he's going to give them to the oracle at Delphi in order to be freed from his madness. All right? So she turns over the necklace to him, but when she finds out that this was actually given to his second wife, Calirrhoa, Sophis sends their sons, her and Alcmaeon's sons. I know this is kind of soap opera-ish and twisty by this point. They send their sons after Alcmaeon to kill him. And that's basically the end of the Epigoni. Now, in some versions of the tale, Alcmaeon is tried for his crimes of killing his mother, but because he killed his mother to avenge the death of his father, he was considered cleared of his transgressions by kind of a divine court, because it was said that he owes more allegiance to his father than he does to his mother. Isn't that great? Anyway, that's the end of the Theban saga. And again, hopefully you see how many of these stories interweave and come together, and many of the small pieces that we saw at the beginning of the semester are starting to show up here in the bigger pictures of the sagas. So that leaves us with the Trojan War to finish out the semester. The end.